Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite girl, Imani B. And today's video I'm actually so excited about, and we're gonna jump right into it. So these are all the things that I learned in my early 20s. Okay, not everything, because if it was everything, we would be sitting here for like... But this is a lot of stuff that I learned in my early 20s now that I'm officially in my mid-20s. Yay! I know it's crazy. Like, I'm trying to like simmer down the facial expressions because I don't want to get wrinkles, y'all. Because I did read somewhere that collagen production slows down at the age of 26. So yeah, we're not even gonna talk about that. If you haven't already, check out my 25th birthday vlog. And so here's the first thing. This is in no particular order, but I actually wrote some of these on my iPad. I knew that I would forget if I didn't. It won't let me access it. All right, so we're gonna kind of have to go off the top of my head because I don't want to like refilm this, and if you see me in a different outfit, that's probably why. But for some reason it won't let me access on my iPad. It's saying that it's like going black. So I don't know what's going on. The devil is trying to stop me. Devil get beneath my feet. No particular order, things I learned in my early 20s. Starting off with I did do some TikToks of this as well. So not everything is the same for my TikTok, but a couple of them may repeat. Now, the key to happiness I learned is really sitting into gratitude. And we've talked about gratitude before. Gratitude is more of a lifestyle than just being thankful, right? There's a difference between being thankful and saying thank you and actually being very gracious and being and having gratitude for the things that you do have. With human beings, I've learned that stuff is never enough. And so when things are never enough, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much money you get, like, people are rich and still have, like, their lives are just effed up. So practicing the art of gratitude in my early 20s has helped me a lot. Another thing I did want to point out was buying things that you want to buy. I know that we're so consumed with all of these finance gurus and, oh my gosh, why would you buy a designer bag? Why would you buy some designer shades? Like, it's people like that, right? I want to say, buy what makes you happy. And I've realized this in my early 20s, like, money comes and goes, right? I could lose money, I could gain money, but your time is precious and your time is forever. And so do not forget about that. Your time is a luxury that you cannot afford to lose. So spend time with people you love. Spend time with your friends. Spend time with your family. Spend time traveling. Spend time with strangers, right? Spend time getting to know people. And it's so crazy because, like, in my early 20s, I was so married to an idea of how I pictured my life being by the time I turned 25, right? If you would have asked me years ago how would my life would have been, I would have been like, I'm married, you know, this, that, and the other. Y'all, I don't have no ring on my finger, right? So I was so married to an idea, right? It's good to have goals, and I talked about this in my live, but at some point I see and I recognize a lot of women in our early 20s, we have this idea of who we want to be, and because we marry that idea, we start to make decisions based off of who we thought we were going to be, right? And so just to give you an example, because y'all know I have no problem sharing personal examples into how I learned certain things. I could have sworn I was going to be married, right? And because I was like, I'm going to be married before 25, I stayed in relationships longer than I should have. So like I said, time is a luxury that I cannot afford to lose. Yes, this was a teaching and a learning moment for me, and I'm so grateful that those relationships happened, because I probably would not be here talking to y'all, on TikTok talking to y'all, on Instagram talking to y'all, giving advice and sharing my wisdom, right? But sometimes you need to let go at the fact that you cannot control everything. Just go with the flow sometimes, because life will throw you curveballs, right? I've learned is that it's okay to have ice cream. If y'all hear my fan, I'm sorry. It's okay to have ice cream 3 a.m. with your friends in the cafe at college. Like, really sit and just spend time with the friends that you meet in college, because this time is a time that is going to be so unique. And I know college feels like it's forever. You want to get out of it, right? When I was in college, I did not have money like that. Like, so I felt like I can't wait to graduate. I can't wait to graduate. I can't wait to graduate. But in the grand scheme of things, my dad used to always tell me, like, picture this as your life, right? School is literally like this much of this whole entire gauge. So when you think about it in hindsight, this 4 years is nothing compared to all of the years you're gonna live outside of college. So just recognize that. For some reason, like, when I hit 25, I was like, why was I acting like I was 18 going on 30. Like, I was acting like a 30-year-old woman at 18, and it's just like sometimes it's really not that deep. Another thing I've learned is that when you find love being young, that does not mean that you did not find love. And I know a lot of people like to negate the fact that, oh, she's too young, she's not in love, or she doesn't know what love is, or you shouldn't get married, you know, telling women and telling men, oh no, you're too early, that's too young to be married, right? You're too young to be married, you're too young to be in love. But it's real funny, nobody ever says like you're too young to be having relations, if you know what I mean, but yet want to say you're too young to be married. You know, I digress. But I found love in my early 20s, and just because it did not work out does not mean that I did not find love, right? I know what love feels like. I know what could have done better, but I know what it feels like to be loved and to love somebody. And just because it doesn't work out does not mean that it was not that. And so in your early 20s, do not let people tell you that you don't love somebody or you have not experienced love because you're young, right? Because society has no problem making women grow up when it comes to other things, but when it comes to love and being loved, it's like, there's no way, right? So I just want y'all to really think about that. Another thing that I've learned in my early 20s was that college is really not about the degree. It is about the degree, but at the same time, in college, something about college really shapes who I have become. There's a huge part of growth that I've experienced in college. And everyone's college life is a bit different. If you cannot set a goal in 4 years or 4.5 years or 5 years, however long that you set the goal takes for you to get your degree, and meet that goal with all the trials, the tribulations, the financial hardships, losing friends, being heartbroken, right? Transferring schools, losing credit hours. If you cannot set a goal within 4 years and meet that goal, how do you expect to run a business? How do you expect to run a business? So yes, college is not just about college. And although I'm very thankful for my degree and I'm very thankful for my education, it's something that cannot be taken away from me. And it's something that people like me have died to try to accumulate, right? So I need to be very grateful and have a heart of gratitude for the degree that I do have. When I see people online speaking very ill of education and very ill of working, knowing that people who look like me one day literally lost their life to try to do the things that I'm able to do now. So just sit in that. History is something that can also help you be more gracious as you grow up in this life. Another thing that I have learned is that you will continue to learn the same lessons until you really master those lessons. I have met men who are still learning the same lessons they probably did not master in their 20s, and they're still dealing with it in their 40s. They're still dealing with it in their 50s. I've seen women doing the same thing. Your lessons will continue to show up. It's like when you play a game, right? And you have to beat one level in order to get to the next. You will continue to be on the same level, and it might show up in different faces and different people, but you will continue to have the same test until you learn how to do better and get to the next level. And finding that out and learning that early in life can really put you in the forefront, because like I said, there's people in their 30s and 40s learning the same lessons that I'm teaching y'all now, or that I talk about now, or that I've already learned, right? So it's kind of like, ooh, girl, I done got past that level already. Next, it is very important to prioritize your time. And it's so crazy because like in my early 20s, I prioritized my time, but I did not really prioritize my downtime. At some point, especially as I got a little older, I let the hustle culture kind of consume me, and it made me feel as if I was never doing enough. So I'm here to tell you right now, you are doing enough. It is okay to prioritize downtime. It is okay to have a day to where it's like, I don't want to do nothing. I just don't. I don't feel like getting out of bed. I want to watch TV all day. That is okay. That is okay. You need to prioritize your downtime because your mental health will be affected by it if you do not. Another thing I learned in my early 20s is that everyone's chapter looks differently, and it's so crazy because like once you graduate college, like when you're like 20, even like going into college, everyone's kind of on the same playing field, right? But once you're getting, even if you're not in college, but once you're getting like 23 years old, 24 years old, that's when things start to look a little different. Everyone's chapters to their books are moving a little faster. Your best friend might get married in her chapter 7 and you're still single in your chapter 7. You might have friends that are having children and y'all's relationships look different, right? I have friends that are on different pathways of me, and we might not relate to each other like we used to. And it's so crazy because it doesn't mean that I lost love for that friend or they lost love for me, but if they're getting married or they're having a child, they're going to make friends or new mother friends that they can share with. Because if my friend's just constantly complaining or telling me about what's happening with, you know, her body from having a child or what's going on with the child, I'm not there yet. So I can empathize with her and I can listen, but I don't really know how it feels, right? We don't really share the same experience to that nature. So that is okay, but it gets so weird because it's like, wow, you start to see other people take different paths, and sometimes I got to the point where I was comparing myself sometimes to other people because, like I said, I was married to this idea in my head of who I thought I would be. So I know people always tell you that comparison is a thief of joy, but it's very important in your early 20s to realize that people's chapters in their books just take off different. Your book is still being written, so have fun and cherish the moments. Like, life is it's so crazy because it literally felt like I was just 16 yesterday and now I'm 25, and it's like crazy just in a blink of like that. Life is so precious. So that is like the most important thing that I've learned, to love the people who love on you. And that's going into my next lesson. Just because somebody is not in your life right now does not mean that they were not supposed to be in your life. We all meet people in different chapters of our life book, and sometimes those people's chapters end. Sometimes, you know, that we might meet them again, right? Or we might meet them differently. We might end up in a relationship with them or whatever, or working for them. You never know. So just because somebody is not in your life, how they were introduced to your life, does not mean that it was a horrible experience, right? You need to learn to appreciate the times that you had with somebody and just think back. And although you might miss them, you might miss the friendship, you might miss the relationship, right? You might miss the job or whatever, you might miss the vacation. Just think back of how you were feeling then, not necessarily how you feel about it right now, but in your headspace of how you were feeling then, and you were so happy then, right? Just sit in that and appreciate it, because in life people come and go. Okay, so that is one thing I want to say. In your early 20s, it is very important to kind of embrace the struggle. And I don't want to say embrace the struggle as in like stay there, or if you feel like, you know, you're in a financial hardship, this is how it's going to be forever. But at one point, especially in college, I did not have it. Like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, act like I was a rich college student. I mean, there are some. I didn't have it. But not having it made me creative, right? It shaped me. Pressure builds diamonds. And so I want you to embrace the struggle as far as, okay, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm creating a plan to get out of here. And this just might where I am for the headspace. I'm 21. I'm not supposed to, oh, I don't want to say I'm not supposed to have it all. I'm 21. It's okay if I don't have it all, right? It's okay if I'm still figuring it out. I'm 22. It's okay if I'm still figuring it out. And I know that with Instagram and all these social TikTok and everything, we're able to see people who have a lot more than us, right? Or at least acting like they have a lot more than us. You don't really know. Just like when you meet somebody, you're not going to show them like the worst parts of yourself, right? On a first impression. So most people are not going to show you them struggling on social media. That's just how it is. And it's not to be fake, right? It's not to be fake. Like, I ain't struggling, but social media is not real life. And I feel like in your early 20s, you need to make sure that you're drawing a line of social media and real life. And it's okay if you don't have it, because let me tell you something, not having it makes you creative. And that creativity is going to get you to where you need to go. Do not forget where you come from, okay? Moving on. Also in my early 20s, as far as finances, I learned, I didn't do too much hiccup, you know, but I did learn that I need to stop comparing. Just like I said, social media is not real life. So stop comparing what you have in your pockets to what you might think someone has in their pockets. Learn to save some of your money, learn to invest some of your money, and learn to spend some of your money. And of course, I'm not a finance channel, and everyone has their own ways of doing things. I've never been a huge budgeter. I hated budgeting. After 18, I wasn't budgeting. And quite frankly, I mean, if people are budgeting at 18 years old, that's good for them. But it's like, I tell my aunt this all the time with my cousin. I'm like, if she want to spend her money and blow her money on whatever she want to blow her money on, she can blow her money when she want. I was 18 years old. I literally was blowing my money at Forever 21. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it is okay if you don't have it all set up. But what I do want to say is, at least when I was younger, my parents always taught me 10% to go to the church, another 10% to go to my savings, and then whatever was my spending money. Now, of course, as I got older, that changed, right? Well, 10% still does go to the church, but my savings is going to change depending on what I'm saving for and how the savings goals that I do have. But I always try to make a spending account. For someone who doesn't like budgeting, it is okay to have your own system. You don't have to always follow the crowd of what YouTube University and TikTok and Clubhouse is telling you to do. Like, it's okay to have your own system. At the end of the day, it's your own money, but just realize that money, like I said before in the video, comes and goes. Don't be married to the money. That's really not a good thing to worship and say.